Hey everybody, after a brief hiatus, we're back and we're going to talk about the Gungans. Cue the new intro. Here we go to Oda Gunga.
How much further?
We're going underwater, okay? I might warning you, Gungans no liking outsiders, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Oh, don't worry. This hasn't been our day for warm welcomes.
Despite this moment's hilarious relevance to the Darth Jar Jar theory, it mainly serves here as a precursor to introduce the Gungans. Jar Jar's flip into the water is so unexpected that you instantly see it as completely alien and strange, which is what the Gungans are. The Gungans function as a foil to the Naboo. They have to be shown as clearly strange and foreign right away, so that we get the full impact of the two sides uniting later. This also helps to exemplify Jar Jar's unique eccentric style, reinforcing our notions that he's just an idiot. This sets up a later reveal when Jar Jar is the one who saves everyone by uniting the two cultures. It just goes to show that even if someone seems weird or idiotic from your perspective, that creativity and uniqueness may just be the key to great innovation, as diversity and uniqueness bring about change.
Mr. Phantom Menace, okay?
After our initial exposure to Jar Jar as a helpless fool protected by Qui-Gon, suddenly the tables have turned. The Jedi are now following Jar Jar's leadership. This adds depth to his character, hints at future developments, and raises tension as the Jedi literally dive into unknown waters. We then get the incredible music and amazing moment when Oda Gunga is revealed, proving to us that judging the Gungan civilization based solely on Jar Jar's flaws would be a massive miscalculation. This is the moment when the Jedi, and us as the audience, get hit with just how important Jar Jar is as a cultural ambassador, despite his shortcomings. The advanced membrane material enclosing Oda Gunga gives us our first hint at the Gungan's advanced nature. Despite just being a visually cool technology, the Jedi's reactions are also very telling as a character moment. Qui-Gon walks through with minimal care, while Obi-Wan is utterly transfixed by the material. You can almost see Obi-Wan's youth and inexperience on his face as he continues to fulfill his role as the audience stand-in. From his reaction and his disbelief, you also get the vibe that Obi-Wan is confused because he judged Jar Jar to be an inferior being. So he is now faced with the cognitive dissonance of realizing that Jar Jar's culture has technology beyond what he has ever seen. It's a nice subtle moment where Obi-Wan, and thus by proxy the audience, grow as a person.
So, good being home.
As they take in the environment, even Qui-Gon looks shocked.
Hey, Yusa! Stop it there!
Captain Tarpals talks with the same accent as Jar Jar, but with a deeper, more menacing tone. Just because they have an accent and are foreign to the Jedi, it doesn't mean they are inferior or less competent. On the contrary, the entry to Oda Gunga here is a strong commentary on elitism and intercultural relations. Even if another culture seems worse or foolish to you based on your surface level reading and your own perspective, once you dive below the surface, you'll often find many things even more advanced and meaningful than you had ever expected.
Hey, yo, Deli, Captain Topos, Mr. Back.
No, again, Jaja. Yusa going to the bosses. Yusa in big doo-doo this time.
Tarpals saying doo-doo sounds ridiculous. It's clearly used as a crass term in a childish way, but despite that, the overall tone remains menacing. Again, judging people by their accent, cultural norms, or word choice often misses the meaning. It's important to listen for the meaning instead of just hyper-focusing on delivery, a good lesson for anyone to take away from this scene. But of course, as with any culture, there are good points and bad points, shown here in the Gungans' continued abuse of Jar Jar.
How rude.
Yusa cannot be here. This army of mechanics up there is new, we saw.
A droid army is about to attack the Naboo. We must warn them.
We saw no like the Naboo. The Naboo think they so smarty. They think their brains so big.
This is yet another example of one culture looking down on another, based only on surface level information, both in the Naboo feeling more civilized than the Gungans, and also the Gungans feeling superior to the Naboo. As Bosnos complains that the Naboo disregard him because of their prejudice, he unwittingly does the exact same thing back to them, even to the point that he's willing to let them be killed by an invading army. The danger of assuming things and judging other cultures without seeking real information is clear. So Obi-Wan, of all people, jumps in to argue with some logic.
Once those droids take control of the surface, they will take control of you.
However, Obi-Wan only jumped in to protect the Naboo that he's familiar with, and he still fails to understand the Gungan culture, which is why Boss Nass replies in his arrogant manner,
Me saw no think so. They not know of Usen.
Obi-Wan then continues, but still wholly from an elitist approach based on defending the Naboo and his shallow knowledge of the Gungans from mere minutes of exposure to them.
You and the Naboo form a symbiont circle. What happens to one of you will affect the other. You must understand this.
Notice that Obi-Wan uses very commanding language when trying to convince Boss Nass. He says, "You form a symbiont circle," and "what happens to one will affect the other," despite his obviously limited knowledge. A short while ago he reacted to Jar Jar by saying,
What's this?
A local.
showing that he's clearly making these arguments up as he goes along, just to protect the Naboo, with no real care for the Gungan culture and civilization. He even says, "You must understand this," as if he's in charge or somehow an expert on what the Gungans should or should not know about their own culture, world, and relations. Understandably, this approach is not convincing to the locals.
We should no care about the Naboo.
Finally, Qui-Gon steps in, not to convince the Gungans to change their culture he doesn't understand, but only to get the supplies he needs to complete the mission on his own. He knows better than to intrude upon the culture as an outsider with no genuine interest or knowledge of it.
And speeder's on her way.
We are gonna speed you away.
In A New Hope, Obi-Wan explicitly states that Jedi mind tricks only work on the weak-minded. That quote, combined with this scene, shows us that Boss Nass, leader of the great Gungan civilization, is a weak-minded person. Boss Nass himself is a commentary on how often incompetent, xenophobic, nationalistic people rise to the highest political office in their nation. Boss Nass is also by far the fattest Gungan in the film, a visual cue toward his greed and how society's resources are often funneled to the most powerful and greedy of the ruling class. However, his juxtaposition with Queen Amidala later serves to remind us that even these types of strongman leaders can be guided in a reasonable direction with a simple change in rhetoric, based on an understanding of their culture. Anyway, Qui-Gon Jinn continues to show his respect for the culture even as he leaves, while his exchange with Obi-Wan reveals yet again how little they know about the Gungan civilization.
We could use a transporter.
We shall give you unabongo. The speediest way to the Naboo is going through the planet core. Now, go.
Thank you for your help. We leave in peace.
Master, what's a bongo?
A transporter, I hope.
I'll stop here for now. Thanks for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. Please check out the rest of the series and keep an eye out for future videos. I'll be branching out and trying some new series soon. Thanks for watching, and as always, think critically, be creative, and have a great day.